2,535 pounds, the very cool little 15 TB GeoPro landed here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan. This is a model that does a lot of things that you can't find anywhere in the industry, even among the other GeoPro lineups. Its weight, first and foremost, puts it potentially within the realm of not just like SUV towability, but potentially minivan towability, which has become exceedingly difficult to accommodate in the modern RV market. If we take a look inside real quick, you can see all kinds of things like a nice light decor, windows all over the place, very convertible seating arrangement. And outside here, you'll see that you also have a additional enhanced updated cooker. Combine that with a big air conditioner in a small space and an expanded standard solar package, and then things like optional tank heaters and 4-corner stabilizer jacks for stability. And it's easy to see why GeoPro is the single most successful, there we go, thing in its class and category. And I tell you folks, when I heard they were moving away from that basically white wood tone that they were using in previous seasons and going to what they're calling Monte Carlo, I believe it is here, I was very nervous, because to me that felt like such a signature calling card of the GeoPro series. And especially in a small space like this one. The smaller the space, the more those lighter, brighter colors really matter. And I'll admit, this is like the third time in my career I've doubted Rockwood before I got to see the final product. And this is the third time that I've circled back and said I was an idiot to doubt them. I think this looks absolutely fantastic. It still has every bit of that warm, light, bright, open, airy kind of feeling. It just does it in a little bit different way, and it feels right. Like, it doesn't feel like anything really changed. It really feels very consistent also with the rest of the Rockwood family. Like, this is technically a slightly different decor from the Newport Ash that you might find in like a Rview or a Mini or an Ultra here at Haylett RV. But man, you got to be looking close to see it. They've done such a good job. Now, what also helps us look and feel large. It's interesting, GeoPros actually have only like 6 foot 1 inch sidewalls. But they have such a dramatically vaulted, barreled roof up here that it doesn't feel small. It never feels small in here. Something else that really helps us, if we start over here and take a look, you can see that if I pull these blackout kind of roller shades up, there's great cross breeze, there's tons of natural light. If you want to flood this thing with natural light, you want to be able to see all over the place, you absolutely can. They've done so many good things here. Now we're going to get to see this thing in several different modes, I guess we can call it. I've got it in what I'm going to call open lounge mode right now. It makes, it kind of gives the RV the largest feeling because there's nothing really blocking your way. It makes the RV easier to navigate. Oh, one other quick note, here in the 21 updates, they have gone from a two-way fridge-freezer combo to a 12-volt DC compression refrigerator and freezer with separate access doors and compartments. It actually has a larger cubic foot of cold storage capacity now, and especially with the larger solar panel on the roof, now 190 watts as opposed to the previous 100 watt, you've got more cold storage that is more off-grid friendly than it has ever been before. Man, where do I want to begin on this? Let's actually, let's take a look at some of the storage here, and we might have to do this in a couple different phases, but let's start up in this area. Now, the hinges were hidden, until I exposed them, that is. But you get the idea. It gives the whole RV a nice, clean kind of fit finish, a good look. Down below here, like below the refrigerator, you see a pair of extra large. Now, these could be dresser drawers. These could be kitchen drawers. It can kind of float a little bit and be a little bit of whatever you need it to be, where you need it to be. The kitchen does have some of its own dedicated storage. We'll see that in just a minute. I mean, any little nook and cranny space they possibly could, they opened up. We'll talk about entertainment in a minute, but as long as we're looking at the face of this, I like that little welcome home light right there so you can see where you're walking. Now, above that, you've got your command center on the left. They have recently updated their chipset. If you want to, you can now sync this to your phone, and anything you can do off this panel, you can operate off of your phone. You don't have to, though. What is nice is it still has physical switches where you can go through and click whatever you need when you need it. Household and USB outlets wherever they could put them. It is tricky in a smaller laminated trailer to put those like in walls. You won't tend to see a lot of that. We'll look at the entertainment in more detail as we come from the other way. For now, I want to finish off looking at this storage here, then get this all closed up so I can go back to navigating the cabin, as your captain would say when you're cruising around about 30,000 feet of altitude. From here, a quick note, that is a full power 13,500 BTU air conditioner. That is going to, I mean, if you want to breathe icicles in this thing, I don't care if you're camping in extreme sunlight, you should be fine in this little space. I want to take a second to really look at the, the TB portion of this, the twin bed convertible portion of this in all its different forms. So again, right now I've got it in like open lounge mode. If you're trying to give yourself more of a living room feel, more spacious, more open, I think this is the way you're going to want to start. But I mean, there's no right way, there's no wrong way. It's just however you want to use this thing. And really what makes it work is this free-floating but very simple folding leg table. And now this is a very underrated feature in the RV industry. People see the folding, almost ironing board style legs like that, and they often think one word: cheap. Well, you know what, guys? Sometimes cheap just means inexpensive. Not everything has to cost an arm and a leg to be really effective. This gives you the place if you want to sit 6 adults around, play a game, some cards, enjoy a little meal together, something like that, you can. Obviously, 1 or 2 people could make it work just fine. It only does everything, and it's what else it allows you to do in this RV that makes it so cool. Now if we slide that table out of the way, which is cool because if you are so inclined, you see that we can actually take it outside. You could use it next to that little griddle station, but this is where the TB in the 15 TB comes from. It actually converts over into something of a twin bed arrangement right here. But the thing is, that is not the only sleeping combination that you have available. What is neat, though, this does allow for some interesting opportunities. Maybe you're just a single person. Maybe you're not couples camping. Maybe it's like a one parent and one child arrangement. Maybe it's a pair of friends doing some buddy camping. You have separate sleeping spaces here, and nothing says you really have to convert them around. And frankly, I kind of think this is interestingly a model that could very easily be converted into something of like a mini mobile office. You could easily add some space to make one of these kind of like more of a desk arrangement. But before you do all that, you might want to take a look at the king bed setup that this one has available. Because this is what I call a king-vertible bed system. You take a pair of twin beds, if you want to use those side sofa cushion bench kind of things. Well, you can kind of slot them in the middle there. You use that middle table as kind of the middle of the bedding. And if what you're looking for is a big place to stretch out and relax in a little camper, I don't know that there's a better example than something like this. Circling back to the entertainment, as we said we would, obviously, the TV's on a double pivot swing arm. So if you want to make it face toward the kitchen, toward the dining, toward the living, the sleeping, whatever you want, you get the idea. It can pivot any way you want. Now, a cool thing on this television, it actually is dual power. And usually in the RV industry, when you hear dual power source, that means like electricity and propane. And no, it's not a propane-powered television. I'm not aware of any such technology, though I'm sure it could theoretically exist, impractical as it may be. This is 110 household shore power and 12-volt powered, so it's an off-grid capable television. It has its own integrated DVD player for entertainment if you do plan to bring some discs with you, since GeoPros could be used out in the sticks a little bit. Up here, this is where you'd find our Bluetooth stereo functions, and just like the TV, it does have an HDMI input, so if you want to expand to like Roku or Blu-ray or something like that, you can. The switch above is for our Wi-Fi Ranger, which is basically a built-in signal access antenna, repeater kind of job. In your house, you kind of call it a router. It's similar to that, technically different, but basically that gives you the idea. But keep in mind, keep this in the back of your heads. When we get up on the roof of the RV at the end of the tour, what you won't see is the Wi-Fi Ranger. And it's not that it's not there, it's not optional, it's standard. It's just that it's basically been effectively like integrated kind of into the antenna that you're going to see on the roof. Up top here, we've got that extra large Max Air style vent fan. That will give this thing some awesome airflow. Very handy because the frameless windows outfitted on this RV are not known for getting the best airflow, but there are plenty of them. They are large, and with that fan, you can kind of overcome that deficit. Not to mention, it is cool that we do have a full viewing window here in the entry door, but it's also very cool, the fact that if you just want to crack that door open and get some screen door airflow with that fan, you can really pump some breeze through this thing. Let's take a look at some kitchen stuff. Like I said, they put what storage they could here. This is one of the very few ovens that is not, models that is not oven capable. You cannot option an oven into this. They don't offer any sort of swap outs. One thing I was very happy to see, and I know a lot of folks are going to be very happy to see, is that bigger sink that we're looking at right there. That is something that a lot of folks really felt was deficient in these small, well, really all of the GeoPros, especially a little one like this. They have more than doubled the size of the sink. You can actually get in there now. And that pop-up power tower gives us some easy reach power outlets and USB plugs, although you obviously have some right down here built into the countertop directly. Cabinet, not countertop. Anyway, you get the idea. I like the extra drawers there. Now, the drawers they're near the floor, and I get that that's not always the most convenient thing, but they didn't want to just waste the space. And remember, everything in this RV is close by. You've got other drawers right next to you. I want to take a look at the refrigerator before we go to the bathroom area itself. It is, again, I think an important thing to mention. It does now have separate freezer and refrigerator, and this is now a larger capacity than it used to be. And you see that the light turns on because this is all 12 volt powered, but it is very easy to shut off. You just simply turn the knob to 0 and it shuts right down. I mean, why does it ever have to be more complicated than that? Thank you, Magic Chef, for just making things simple and easy. This is actually something, this is a feature I wanted to definitely include in our little floor plan and a flash flyby footage in the beginning there. That's a lot of F's all in one sentence. My English teacher would be proud of my ability to handle alliteration. It's called a wet bath. Some folks aren't going to like it, and some folks just ain't going to care. Now, I don't know exactly where the name comes from. I suspect it's because the toilet gets wet from the shower, but it's a toilet, shower, shoilet, all-in-one combo thing. You can see how the floor in here is actually a shower pan. It is very space efficient, and it's really about the only way that you could try to get a bathroom and a shower in a small camper like this. But they did a good job being creative with it. There's different ways you can use this. So, I mean, obviously, you can just use it as a bathroom if need be. If you don't care, a lot of people say, I don't care about the shower. That doesn't bother me on this GeoPro. I just use the facilities at the campgrounds. I get that. I've done that. I'm not afraid to use my RV's bathroom. I think people shouldn't be afraid of that, but I get that some people, it's just not their jam, man. Well, you know, you can just turn this into closet or storage space. Now, if you are going to use it as a shower and you are going to be off-grid, you're really going to appreciate that little blue thing that you see down there, that little bar, and there's a lever there. It is called the shower miser. So once you get, your shower water on the temp that you want it, what you can do is basically just flip that switch, keep your shower temperature the way you want it, and it'll just recycle the water from back into your freshwater holding tank via your pump, basically. So that you're not wasting any water, because water is very precious in here. Now, you can basically accomplish the same thing in almost any RV with the handy little on-off plunger right here on the shower wand itself. But it still bleeds a little bit, whereas this bypasses completely. Now, you might notice, just like all the Rockwoods, it has that easy to remove and clean little shower caddy pocket right there. And then over here, you're going, what is the deal? There's a baggage door in here. And you're thinking, how stupid is this? If I'm taking a shower, I'm just going to spray water in there. Well, that's why they use this. If you think about it, it's a baggage door just like you might see outside in a camper. Well, if it rains on that baggage door, it keeps the water out. This has the exact same kind of seal system. So what it does is it gives you the ability to keep things like, say, toilet paper in here that you really don't want to get wet, or towels, so that you don't have to do the nudist streak through the camper, through the campground, and, keep them dry. Or you could just always use it as generic storage. Now, space is limited here, so they had to get a little creative. There's a little fan up top. Does a great job because it is a little room. And you see that extra light just for this room. Now, one other bit of housekeeping I want to kind of handle, and of course it does have a shower curtain. I was just keeping that up out of our way while I was doing that segment of the footage. Let me get that back in the room here. There you go. Live your life. A very frequent request I've had with this model is, hey Josh, could you get Rockwood to custom build this with that cool windshield they have? And the answer is no, I absolutely cannot. And I say that because I've tried. The reason being, that windshield is centered in the nose cap of the trailer. This kitchen is off-centered. They do not build this front wall with a jig with the allowances to move that windshield over. So as much as I would like to do that for you guys, because I actually was able to get the windshield offered in the 19 FD GeoPro where it didn't used to be, this is one I can't get done for you. I would like to, unfortunately I can't. Here's a flip side to that though. One less big window means one less thermal hole in the RV, which will help keep this thing cooler or warmer depending on what you're pumping into it. And one more thing I failed to mention here, I can't believe I did this, is that these GeoPros aren't just inverter ready, they have an inverter. That's the switch on our right-hand side next to that Coca-Cola Barley Poppinator bottle opener in the middle. Every single outlet in your GeoPros is wired to that inverter. It will not let you run air or microwave off of the battery power, but you can run everything else. So if it's lights, fans, and I don't mean these lights and these fans. I mean like a household light, a household fan, CPAP machines, laptops, anything like that. You can run those off these household outlets when you are boondocking, which is something most RVs just can't do. And as long as we're here, I should also mention the changing countertop. You see how it's now seamless? They got rid of that little seam right there so that water can't slip in. They did that at the same time that they drastically enhanced the sink space over here. Back outside here, there's so many features packed onto this. I'm not sure where to begin, so I'm just going to kind of work my way around. Let's start with the door. That makes sense. We walked out the door. Let's start at the door. It is an anti-slam friction hinge door with that extra large handle, but something else that's very cool here, especially once we get out of that direct sunlight, is the update to the door handle. Even this has been enhanced. It's got a keyless entry door pad on it to throw your deadbolt, because a lot of people with GeoPros go biking, kayaking, hiking, and you don't want to risk losing your keys. So you can beep, beep, boop, beep, boop, 8675309, that keypad right there. Also, I don't know what it is, but it's got a really solid feel to it, and it's all metal. It's not plastic. Normal Rockwood doing Rockwood things. They always kick it up a notch. They were really about the first in this class to standardize a lot of things. They were one of the first in this class to standardize what used to be an optional off-road package. These all include a tire pressure monitoring system standard from the factory. All Rockwood travel trailers and fifth wheels include that. And it doesn't have to Bluetooth to your phone, which so many things Bluetooth to our phones nowadays, guys. Is it me or is my phone starting to get a little overtaxed? My battery only lasts so long, you know. I don't need more things flickering up at me on the road on my phone to distract me. I just want to look over, see my tire pressure, and look away. And this lets me do that. Stable steps keep the wiggle jiggle out of it, not to mention, and I can't stress this enough, it's so easy to overlook, 4 corner stabilizer jacks, not just rear jacks and a tongue jack, which is very common in little campers, especially a very little camper like this one. It will keep this thing so much steadier. Now we are going to get up on the roof and see that newly expanded 190 watt roof solar panel package, but you can see it is still prepped for a side solar panel, so if you still want to park in the shade where your roof panel is going to get less effectiveness, not zero, but less, you can still have a portable panel chasing the sun. Or you could use the two together and, you know, really keep a lot of batteries topped off. We include your first battery at no charge for you, by the way, here at Haylett RV. That's one part of our no fees thing. We don't pay you to clean it or anything like that. We show you how it works. Now, we talked about the nose cap as much as I would like to. Unfortunately, folks, I'm just unable to put a windshield into it. The power tongue jack up here, that's another thing that used to be optional and has since become standard, as has the body size on this. The 15TB has actually grown slightly since its inception. It used to be like 6.5 foot wide or something like that, 7 foot wide. It was a different size from the rest of the GeoPros, and I'm having trouble remembering, and it really doesn't matter because they're basically all 7 foot 4 inches wide now, which is, even in and of itself, a very uncommon quality. Little trailers tend to be 7 foot wide or 7.5 foot wide, with very few little 6.5 foot wide compact things like the now phased out Hummingbirds. Jayco coming out with their own version of something like a GeoPro called the J Feather Micro. I can't wait for those things to roll in here, although as this footage ages, they will have already made it. Now up front, I mentioned that power tongue jack became standard. I like the little 7-way plug buddy so that you can keep your 7-way plug out of the dirt. Now notice too that they're including a wheel on that power jack because it is a small camper. It is light enough that like if you have it parked on concrete and you want to like push it into your garage, you can do that. It does not take a lot to actually move these things around in that way. They are all set for a couple big batteries. You can put dual 6-volt batteries on this if you are so inclined. These also ride on a different chassis from anything else at Rockwood. It rides on a Norco chassis, which is a huck-bolted Z-frame aircraft style chassis. If you don't care what all that means, in English it means lighter, but without losing strength because it's actually a thinner gauge material made with a higher grade of steel. But another thing that's really helping the weight of this is the heavy use of Azdel on this little camper. GeoPro is and always has been, although they didn't really do a good job of telling anybody about it for the first year and a half, Azdel constructed. And they use Azdel on both the inside and outside of their laminated walls, which is a very uncommon quality. Those J Feather Micros are actually going to make an effort to match. The, storage. You see the storage pocket on the back here. Well, storage is absolutely at a premium on any little camper. So one of the things they did here that I really like is, first of all, open this compartment up below the beds. But secondly, underneath the trailer, kind of where the steps are located, there's a sewer hose caddy. So that you have a tube you can keep your sewer hose in so you don't have to, mix your black tank stuff with the rest of your stuff. Now, this goes all the way under the headboard area of the driver's side bed, and then it goes all the way under the entire door side bed. You see how it kind of dogleg lefts around there, and they give you multiple access points. That also gives you an easy place to see all that storage. Now, something we did last year that we are not doing for our general stock units this year, like we're seeing here, is the roof cargo rack option, and there's a reason for it. You see that backup camera prep up top? If you get the roof ladder rack option, these Rockwoods, these GeoPros always have a roof ladder. That's what you're seeing right there. Well, the roof rack option changes the ladder and it mounts it in the center of the camper, which completely negates any and all function, really, of that rear view camera. In theory, that rear ladder is removable, but then you have to try to find like a place to store it. And typically, if you're small campering, whatever you want to call it, small RVing, it's because you don't have extra places to put extra things. So this makes the most sense to us. We weren't really aware of that last year when they rolled in. Some folks said they didn't mind. Some folks said, I really hate that. And either way, you can still get up to the roof on this. So this feels like the best combination of things. Now, they obviously can't put the world's biggest awning on here, but they put the biggest awning that they possibly could on this little critter. And I don't know. I think it works. It's power. It has LED lights under it. It's just like the rest of the Rockwood stuff. They're very cool in their consistency. Now, over here is another thing that they've enhanced that a lot of people are very happy about. These originally had a little free-floating Coleman camp grill, and they always had a gas grill quick connect. Well, they decided to do away with the Coleman grill, and they've gone to the Sunbeam griddles here, which is actually a subcontracted, smaller Blackstone. But what I love is that they actually still include this little side utility shelf table. And just like we saw inside, remember that multifunction floating table inside could easily float out here if you want to use it for picnic use. Now, I like to get up on the roof of anything whenever I get the chance, and thankfully GeoPros do have walkable roofing. Trick is, they got a lot of stuff up here, so I'm going to kind of move slow and carefully because I really don't feel like taking a tumble today. You'll find all of these GeoPros, they have things like that Max Air vent cover up there, and that is something that really helps provide a lot of good airflow anytime, especially in the rain. Now, I want to very carefully back up here a little bit and take a look at something. This has a low-profile air conditioner, and you can see how nothing really sticks up above that. Technically, I think that air vent sticks up slightly higher than this AC shroud. Now, that's another GeoPro thing. Low-profile air conditioners cost more to build and produce and apply than a standard
taller air conditioner unit. So that's another one of the reasons GeoPros are certainly not the least expensive thing in their class. Now, obviously, I can walk all over this. A lot of single axle campers, not as many as there used to be, thankfully. As more people have become more educated in their RV purchases, more manufacturers have made smaller camper roofing walkable. GeoPro definitely ahead of the curve on that. Now over here, this is another big update as compared to previously. These used to have a 100 watt flex panel, solar panel up here. GeoPro and really Rockwood altogether has recently swapped over from a 100 watt flex panel, which is a little bit less efficient, to a 190 watt raised panel high efficiency job here. This is the exact same solar package that you could apply to something like a Jayco, Northpoint, or Pinnacle luxury fifth wheel. You can get the same big panel with greater recharge capacity here on this little thing. And effectively what this is going to let you do, if you're going to be off grid, this will give you effectively indefinite use of your 12 volt systems. In a way, it's nearly overkill. Now, that is not the type of solar that runs stuff like the air conditioner or the microwave. But short of that, you can do anything you want with this camper pretty much anytime you want, pretty much anywhere you want, and it does still have that side mount solar prep plug. So there's a lot going on up here. Now, excuse me, I'm going to tiptoe my way off of this thing before I slip and fall and break my neck. Now, I'll sometimes joke about 10 pounds of sugar in a 5-pound sack. I think these might actually pack 12 or 13 pounds of sugar into that same 5-pound sack. There's a lot of camper going on in a very compact space. It's going to be lighter. It opens up some opportunities for things even like minivan towing that you just can't find in a lot of places the RV market anymore. If that all sounds good, give our team here at Haylett RV a call, and we'll get you camping in one just like this, or one built and spec'd out to your preferences. As always, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy Haylett camping, everyone.